Hi all, been a while since I've done a video, and I thought I'd do one regarding the latest wagon build I'm doing. I'm only doing the video because it's a ride-on wagon, which I don't normally do. For those that follow me will know that already. For those that don't, this will be kind of new to you. So yeah, I'm not a ride-on wagon kind of guy. I'll make one because I've got drawings for one. I bought some drawings many moons ago from Peter Wood. Peter Wood designed some wagons to look scale, but you could sit on them. I got these drawings, must be near on 20 years ago now. And he's a Doncaster chap. And he doesn't really have. He's still about. He doesn't really advertise them as such like he used to. He used to attend shows, and and was kind of around a lot if you needed to ask him about scale wagons and ride-on wagons, stuff like that. And he designed these wagons, and you can just see the drawing on the board there, which is a general arrangement drawing. And it was so you could use materials from the likes of B&Q and Wickes and places like that. 9mm ply for the bodies, scored. He did the laser cut corner pans and things like that for them. And he did these drawings. So he used a steel plate basically, which I'm going to show you because I've got a chassis kind of that I've been working on, kind of half built or 3/4 built, and it's a steel plate with 2 runners, and then some plumber blocks on it says 60mm on the drawing, 60mm M8 screws, and that sandwiches the things together. And then you do your axles, obviously put the axle through and then put the wheels on through the plumber blocks, and that gives it a nice stable base for the wagon then to be sat on. What I've kind of done, because he put on his drawings, he put in a like gas pipe as a rubber damper, so it had a bit of squish to the wagon, so it wasn't a rough ride. And what I did is I kind of thought, well, if I shorten the bolt length to change the ride height, and I can put in shock absorbers, the types of things that you would bolt to the feet of your compressor to stop it vibrating, things like that. So they're little vibration dampers, but they're M8 thread both ends, because the plate itself has got a tapped hole in it, and then it's got these 2 long runners, which you'll see in a second because I'm going to cut to it. It's got 2 long runners, then it's got the damper then goes M8 bolt through that with a nut on. So instead of having a countersunk bolt through the plate, through a bit of gas cut off gas pipe and then a nut on, I've put these dampers in because they're ready, available, eBay and all those types of places. They're M8 threaded both ends, so you just tap the plate that your base plate, screw those in, put your longitudinal runners in that are going to hold your wheels on, and you've got a chassis very quickly. You then put 40x3 angle at the ends, which is which is going to sit behind your headstocks. The sole bars and headstocks you'll still make up as normal as a wooden wagon, or as I'm going to do with this one, it's going to be a steel chassis because I got some channel from 17D many moons ago, and it was going to be a wagon build, and then the guy didn't want that wagon in the end, so I thought, well, I'm not going to waste it, put it under a bench for a good number of years, and this one's going to now become the donor for that. So yeah, so you still make your body the same, your chassis the same, but it's not going to have any guts to it. So it's literally 2 sole bars, 2 headstocks, and it sits over the top, if that makes sense. So you'll screw the base of your wagon body to the chassis, and then the chassis then sits over the top of this. So you are sitting on the body of your wagon, which is sitting on top of this plate. All will become clear as time progresses when I do this one. I've got a bit of wood behind me that the next door neighbour was about to chuck out, and I thought, well, that'll come in handy for the base of the actual wagon that I'm doing. Free always works, doesn't it? So all it took was a question of, do you need that bit of wood? So yeah, so we'll have a quick look at this now, and I'll go through what we're looking at and what I've just been talking about, and give you an idea of how it goes together, how I've done it. I'll find, because I've already cut the angle, the 40x3 angle that goes in, and because there's 8 holes, sorry, there's 6 holes through it for the angle to be bolted to, and then you're going to hang the brakes off it and everything like that. So this one isn't going to be braked, it's just going to have dummy gear, because what I wanted to do, I wanted a wagon to go behind my driving truck that I can get my partner Ange to sit on, so when we go to railways, instead of her sitting at the side and watching me go round and round and round all day, she can sit behind me on her own dedicated wagon, you know, and then if we've got passengers behind that, all is good. Or, excuse me, being full of cold. Or if I'm pulling a rake of wagons and someone wants to come with me on that rake of wagons, be my partner again, as I say, we can go trundling off with some wagons, and you can sit on the one that will be behind my driving truck, which is going to be this one. So yeah, so I'll have a look at this now, and I'll talk you through it, and I hope you find it helpful. Okay, so this is what I've been talking about. So you can see plumber block, self-centering plumber block bearings, yeah, 2 long M8 screws, yeah, so there's a nut on the underside of there, sorry, the head of the bolts there, nut on there, then there's another nut here, just under there, you see that, obviously sandwiching the block in, another nut, that holds that nice and captive. The axles, I've done these at 12mm because that's what it was stated on Peter's drawings, and I don't think it needs anything more than that, really, to be honest. I know I do 5/8 on a scale wagon, but that's because they're tapered down in the middle, so they come down to about 3/8, 12mm ish, 10, 12mm in the centre, and then they go out to a bigger diameter out here where the wheel is. So yeah, so you make your axle up. Obviously I've turned the wheels, I've still got the flashing to take off these yet, off these castings, but you make your wheels up, you push your axle through. These have got, you can see there's a little bit of Loctite's run through. They're a squeeze fit, but I put Loctite as well. I don't want them to part company at all, because there's nothing to stop it. On the outside of here, you're going to have a W iron with an axle box. It's not doing anything, because this is all doing the work. So excuse me again. So on here, it's going to be covered over. I've centered them, so if I need to reprofile the wheels, I can set them up between centers and everything like that. So it's all fake on the outside of here. So I'm putting PMP springs in again on this as standard, and then I'll put my own axle boxes that I have, the RCH axle boxes. They'll be on the outside. I think this one's going to be destined to be a northeastern van. Now if I just get a piece of 40x3 angle, so you see the holes there, so you've got these M6 holes, and on the other side is countersunk. Yeah, so it's countersunk so that the top is going to be flush. That will be bolted on there, and at this end is going to be the headstock. Yeah, so this will have 3 holes in it, one at each side for the buffer stocks or the shanks to come through, one in the middle for the hook. The hook will be sprung directly, it doesn't need to have the central rod through. So that goes on there. There will be, bear with me, there will be another one in there. Okay, that's because in here there's going to be a spring. Yeah, so the shank of the buffer will come through this one. It'll be reduced in diameter, and then there'll be the spring here, and then there'll be a split pin this side, so it'll compress against that one. Make sense? It'll all come clear when I build it up. So that's what those two are. Hook will be in here. Not the bloody wheel in the way, stupid boy. The hook will be in here. It'll have a lock nut on the back and a suitable heavy duty spring, which I found some on eBay that are a decent coil to them. I think I've still got one left over that I've got to fit. There we are. So they're a real heavy duty coil spring. Because one thing I don't like, and it is something you might notice on some scale wagons, is that the hooks they use, or the springs they use on their hooks, they're really soft. So as soon as you set off, you're pulling it, it just goes, you know, all the coils touch and it's not really doing anything. So I got a heavier duty spring and I can barely push that together. So when it's on a wagon, which I've fitted one to my driving truck and it works perfect. So that's that. And you'll notice here as well, there's two more holes here, there and there. And that is for narrower angle. Now, it doesn't sit on the top like that, obviously. It sits in there, but I can't get it in there yet. Okay. And that's because, if I turn this way, there'll be a bit cut out like that. And the same on that side for those two runners. So as I was saying, two runners. And if you can see there's the dampers, look. Yeah. So it's already made up. That's how you buy it, with two M8 threads, one on one side and one on the other. Screw that into your base plate. That's tapped M8. There's your damper, nut on the top. Yeah, it's sturdy. I've sat on it today with the wagon body on it, which isn't destined for this, but and it's very smooth. So damper in there. This bar is, I think it's 6mm by 25. I think it's stated, this one here. So you got two lengths of that. 4 of these bearings, yeah. I think these are M8 by 70. Loads of M8 nuts. It's quite easy to do. This is going to go in there, that way. Then there's going to be another one in there, that way. That's going to hang the brake off it. Now, as I said, I'm not putting brakes on this, so why am I putting them bits of angle in? Because I'm going to hang the brakes on it like it's meant to have brakes on it. Excuse me. But my plan is, later date, is to make all this brake working from a pull handle, so it's like a driving truck basically. So that's why they're going in now, or they will be going in once I've eaten this bit out here. And that's the plan with that. So that explains that. If you've got any questions about this, just find me a message. Pete, as I say, Peter is still around. He's still doing his drawings, because I know someone who knows him, and he's a member of my local club up the road, the Stockholes Farm Miniature Railway. He is still an active guy. So we'll just turn this round, and I apologise for the close-up. Bear with me a sec. There we are. Let me pop you up there. Precariously balancing you on my little lathe without knocking you off. There we are. No, maybe. There we are. Yeah, so he's still around. He's still doing stuff, but he's been, I think he's been mainly doing, I think he's got into doing loco plates and stuff like that. I haven't spoken to him for donkey's years. I saw him the start of last season, this season just finishing. Saw him at the start of the season, but not to talk to, so he probably doesn't realise that I've still got his drawings and I'm still making, well, this is my first wagon done from his drawings. As I say, those that know the history of miniature Midland wagon works will know that it was Peter Wood that actually inspired me to get into doing this. Whereas he was doing the ride-on stuff and kind of coarse scale, or as close to scale stock, I went a bit step further and thought, right, well, I've working dropped side doors and under doors, and you know, doing it from works drawings and things like that. So, but it was Peter that kind of inspired me to do it. That, and I liked the way his drawings were all about, you know, you can use, you know, if you've got a pillar drill, a few hand tools and things like that, you can get started in wagon building, which is true. You can do that. You know, if you haven't got a lathe, it doesn't mean that you can't do anything. You know, there's companies out there that will make buffer stocks. There's companies out there that I will do buffer stocks, and I'll do buffer heads, and you know, and I'll do axles and wheels and things like that. So you're not stuck that you can't do it. You know, and I find that wagon building is a good way to get into doing model engineering before you do a loco build. Especially, you know, I found with this engine that of my dad's that I inherited, with him not around, I didn't really have that person stood over my shoulder going, nah, you shouldn't really do it like that. You should do it like this, or you know, in different various ways and things and that. But a loco build, it's not a straight science, you know, as I found with trying to time it, it's been a pain in the arse. Whereas the class 2 that I'm going to be doing, and there's another chap that is waiting patiently on drawings so he can chop some metal up. Old Mark, me and Mark are going to do a class 2 each. Mark's done other engines, and he's kind of, but he had a mentor like I did with his dad. I had my dad, he had his dad, and we looked up to him because they were kind of, I don't know, a wealth of knowledge, and they knew what they were doing, even though they were probably self-taught themselves, you know. It's cold. Yeah, so the class 2, I'm starting from fresh. I knew that when I did the previous class 2, which me and Dad started together years and years and years ago, me and him started a class 2, got the tender 90% finished. I had a falling out with the club that I was at because I moved away and one thing and another. Club politics, let's put it that way. I didn't want my tender, or mine and his tender, to go on display, and it went on display. And when the marquee was being built, my model was out there. It was alarmed and everything like that, but there was no real security on site, and it got stolen. Long story short, 10 years later, I got it back. My dad passed away. And so anyway, that was something me and him did together. His engine, he was doing himself. And when he left it, I didn't know what he'd done, what he hadn't done. And because I'd fallen out with model engineering, it will happen, kids. You'll have a falling out with model engineering at some point in your model engineering stint or whatever. Falling out with model engineering, and then came back to it after he passed away because it was kind of, right, it was a kick in the teeth that I'd lost him, and I wanted to do him justice by finishing his engine. I don't know if he would actually be happy that I've turned it into a side tank, not a saddle tank, but it's my engine now, so I can do what I want with it. But I finished it and it works. I'm still tweaking it, and that's the point I'm getting to is they're not an exact science. They don't just work just like that. You can buy one that works just like that, as a lot of people do. When you're building one, they don't just work. There's a lot of tweaks, a lot of faffing about. It can put you off. I've nearly thrown the towel in hundreds of times on it because I didn't know what I was doing, and I don't think anyone out there does know what they're doing all the time. You know, there's still the things that will make you scratch your head and make you stop and go, hang on a second, I need to think about that. Wagon building is the same, but wagon building's a little bit more forgiving. There's no rods, there's no valve gear, there's no motion, there's no boiler, you know, but it gets you started in model engineering. So, you know, for experienced model engineers, I would say encourage those younger ones that are floating about. They love to drive engines, let them drive your engine if you dare, but also encourage them to do wagon building, especially in 7 1/4. 7 1/4 wagon building isn't as popular as 5 inch. The GL5 guys, they ripping it up. There's wagons being built left, right and centre. 7¼ not so much, well, not that I know of. And I think it's just because it's down to size. You need a bigger lathe to turn the wheels. You need a bigger pillar drill to drill steel, especially if you was having drilling this 6mm plate. I was fortunate, the 6mm plate, I had an offcut at work from a job that wasn't right, so, and the size was just right, and I'm fortunate enough to have a plasma cutter at work, a CNC one, so I drew what I needed to draw off Peter Wood's design, turned it into a G code and everything. The machine did the work. I've got the piece of plate I need. If you wanted a piece of that plate and you're doing a Peter Wood design, give me a shout. I've got it already drawn up in CAD. We can fire it over to Ed at Model Engineers Laser, and he'll no doubt knock one out very, very quickly for us. So don't feel that, oh, I can't, where am I going to get a piece of 6mm plate from? Don't worry about it, we can get you on. And I can't say that it'll be that much either. So, and eBay for them bearing blocks, I think I got a set of 4 for about £8 rings a bell, but I don't think it was that cheap. I think that's me over exaggerating. It might be a little bit more. Excuse me. Anyway, I'm ranting as you do, but it's been a while since I've been on. Keep an eye on the Facebook page for updates on wagon building. Customers of mine that are waiting on stuff, there's 3 of you in particular, I'm not going to name names, you know who you are. I am on with your work. I've got stuff everywhere in all different states of being built. The chassis that I'm doing at the minute is mine, and I do weekend work I do on my stuff, weekday stuff I do on customer stuff, unless I've been feeling like this and then I've not been to work and I've not done anything. So I am on with your stuff. There's going to be, you'll see a 5-inch driving truck being posted on the Facebook page soon, because it's nearly finished and I'm quite happy with it. And then there'll be a little 5-inch driving truck, because I've managed to draw up a chassis for a little 5-inch driving truck. I might end up, if I can get the price right, I might start selling them, because they are dead easy to do, dead easy to build. There's a little bit of welding in the chassis, but I might do the chassis as a welded kit, pre-welded, and all you'll have to do is put the axle boxes in and the buffer stocks and stuff like that. But that'll be a semi-scale 5-inch driving truck, something you'll sit on and put your feet on your tender, that type of thing. It's a little small 4-wheeled thing. The big driving truck I'm doing at the minute, that's bogeyed, long, almost 4 foot long thing, it's going to be the only one I do, because it's taken a lot of time, because I didn't really have a drawing for it. I got some drawings for one, but because this was longer, it kind of, obviously all the dimensions for everything, where it's sat and where the brake gear hangs and everything like that, all doesn't marry up. So I've had to kind of start from scratch. But it has got oval buffers and all that type of stuff. So it looks nice, but it will be the only one I'd probably do. There's a little 5-inch 7-plank that's nearly finished as well. That's for a customer. So yeah, so all your customers that are waiting, please be patient with me. I am a hobby business. It's not my main job. I wish it was. As I say, I keep harping on about that, but I do wish it was my main job. I'd be out here all day, every day, building wagons, but unfortunately there's not enough custom for that to happen. So we have to do it in our spare time, and when you managing life in general and at work, and then trying to do this as a hobby business is quite difficult. You'll notice that as well on my website, which is miniaturemidlandwagonworks.co.uk, there has been more products added. Some stuff is coming back into stock. I've preempted the stock coming back and already made it live on the website, just because it will be, when it comes in, it will go straight out. So there's lots going on. I'm keeping busy. Apart from this, I've had a week off of this shite. Sorry, YouTube. Yeah, so this is absolute nonsense. It's knocked me back a week. I've had it for about 2 weeks. So, and hearing rumours from Rumoursville that it's caused, I daren't say it actually. In fact, I'm not going to say it. It's caused by the dreaded vaccine that we've been given. Anyway, enough of me ranting. See you all next time. Thanks for watching. Got any questions about this chassis or any other wagon I'm doing? Keep an eye on that corpse wagon. The roof's gone on today, as you might have seen by a post earlier on. Looks pretty sweet. Still a lot of painting to do on that, and then I've got to put the footsteps on the end, and then I've got to do the chassis. But the chassis wood's ordered and cut. I'm lucky. Me and the Yorkshire Wagon Company are like that now. No, I've got to thank Chris because he saw some wood for me to use, and he's cut it and planed it for the right size. So I'm going to have a new stack of wood come in, and then it's all go from there. And keep an eye out as well. There'll be an 8 plank, 7 1/4, 8 plank wagon coming up soon as well, for a customer down south. We're going to do a trade-off, wagon for wagon. So that'll be nice. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time. I'll try not to make it so long for the next video. Lots going on, so I'll try and keep you updated. But keep the questions coming, because it's easier to do these than it is to kind of type it out.